Good morning. This is Ian King live in our business and economic news from the heart of the city. Now, the UK economy will be as big as it was before the pandemic by the end of the year, a full year earlier than expected. That's the upbeat assessment from the UK's biggest business organisation, the CBI, as it says the economy is set for stunning growth this year. It also says growth will be rapid next year and that unemployment will peak at a lower level than feared. Well, joining me now is the CBI's chief economist, Rain Newton-Smith. Rain, very good morning to you. You're pencilling in a big upgrade here, and your forecast is now much punchier than the likes of the Bank of England, the OBR, the EY Item Club, for example. Why this bullishness?
Look, I think it's so great to have a good news story, and we now expect to see the economy growing by 8% this year and 6% next year. And really that reflects the successful rollout of the vaccine. I'm just fresh off my second dose yesterday. And we're seeing strong government spending, strong household spending, and that's supporting a stronger outlook for the economy. And I think what we're seeing is in recent weeks, the positive news has continued despite some of the restrictions. So that's one of the reasons why we have a more optimistic outlook for the economy. It's partly because of that success of the vaccine rollout, I think, has taken everyone by a real pleasant surprise. But of course, what we do know is that for some businesses and some sectors, there are still tough times ahead. And I think the sectors I'm still very concerned about is the outlook for the aviation sector and international travel, and of course, live events, as you were referring to the carnival in your run-in. So I think there are tough times ahead for some businesses, but what is really important is we are seeing that stronger growth across the economy and a much stronger outlook for the labour market as well, which is really important for households around the country.
Does this forecast, Rain, take into account the fact that the government's pushed back Freedom Day and the loosening of restrictions by a month?
Well, the thing is, because despite, I think it's really important to remember that I think what businesses are saying about the restrictions is, I think if they are only in place for an additional 4 weeks and we have that irreversibility, so that when we come out of those final set of restrictions on the 19th of July, if not earlier, we really are back to, pretty much life as normal. And I think despite there still being some restrictions in some sectors, and it obviously makes it much harder for some of our hospitality venues to have as many people as they would like, to be as profitable as possible, what we are seeing is other sectors of the economy are growing strongly. So that's why we still see a pretty positive outlook for growth as a whole. But we do think the government should look at some further support, particularly for the aviation sector, and think about delaying some of the increases in business rates in particular, to just give a bit more breathing space to the hard-pressed hospitality sector.
Now, as you mentioned just now, you're also forecasting that unemployment is going to peak at a lower rate than expected. Why the particular optimism there?
Look, I think it really does speak to the success of some of the government schemes that have been put in place, and of course all the efforts that businesses themselves have done to support jobs, to support their employees through this crisis. So, a year ago we had fears that unemployment might well peak even in double digits. So it's such a good news story that we now expect it to peak maybe at as low as 5.5%. It is definitely because of the success of the furlough scheme. And even as that gradually tapers over the summer, what we are seeing is more and more people who have been on furlough are moving back into employment. And we're seeing the economy even now is creating jobs, not quite at the pace that we saw before the pandemic, but we are seeing a stronger pickup in the pace of job creation, and we expect that to accelerate over the summer and over the course of the year, and that's really important. So I think some of the fears about the long-term scarring from this crisis are now proving to be that we can be a bit less worried about that. Though, as I said, there are definitely certain sectors that I still have concerns about, and I think we do need to think about what we need to do to support aviation, international travel, because I think we will see restrictions there for a longer period of time.
One of the blemishes that we've seen in recent months, as the data has got better, of course, is the persistent weakness in business investment. What do you see happening there before the end of the year?
Well, I think one of the positives, and it is so nice to be able to be talking about more positive stories, is we've seen investment intentions pick up across sectors in recent months. And I think what we have seen is a really strong pickup in investment in digital technologies and the way that businesses and how we all shop and how we communicate with each other. And so we do expect to see business investment recover, but it is still being held back by, of course, the wider uncertainty about the impact of the pandemic here. And of course, globally, we do know, yes, we've seen a successful vaccine rollout here, but there's still so much uncertainty about the global vaccine rollout. So there are some definite risks to the world economy. But I think also fundamentally what businesses are telling us is they really want to get behind and invest in that move to a low carbon economy. But we're still waiting for some of the key policies from government, the blueprints to unlock that. So a strategy around heat, around how we decarbonize the way we heat our homes, around transport, and the development of the hydrogen economy, some of the newer technologies which will help to deliver renewable energy and renewable transport over the future. And we really need to see those blueprints, those guidance from government, and businesses then stand ready to invest behind these new technologies.
All right, Rain, good to talk to you this morning. Thanks very much for joining me.
Thank you.